Hello, I'm Jennifer from the St. Louis County Library. Welcome to Resume Rescue. This series of videos will show you how to create or improve your resume to aid in your job search. This video will focus on how to get started. To see the full playlist of all of the Resume Rescue videos, click on the link in the description. So first of all, let's talk about what the goal of Resume Rescue is. It's to help you get the interview. Resumes get you interviews and interviews get you jobs. So what we really want to focus on is making sure your resume is good enough to get you that all-important interview. So how do you get started? Well, first of all, you do not want to use a resume template. I know this is a little bit of a controversial statement, but most of them are going to do you more harm than good. Most of them are not ATS friendly, which means the computer that is reading your resume is not capable of reading it. Most are outdated. Many templates were created 15 or 20 or more years ago, and so what may have been the best practices then are no longer best practices on your resume. There are also a lot of online resume templates that claim to be free, but they're really not. So you may be sitting there at the computer for 2 or 3 hours filling out this online resume template, and as soon as you click save or print or download, it wants your credit card number. And unfortunately, it's really hard to identify those ahead of time, so it's better just to stay away from them completely. So what you do want to do is open a blank word processing document and just start typing. This could be Microsoft Word, Google Docs, or any word processing program that you have on your computer. Let's talk about the content that you need to have on your resume. First, and most importantly, you need to include your contact information. This should be at the top of the first page of your resume. But you do not want to put it in a header because anything that is in a header cannot be read by the computer. Your contact information should include your name, one personal phone number. So do not list your landline and your cell phone number. Pick one phone number to include on your resume. And it should be the phone number where you can most easily be reached. So if your cell phone is always with you and that's the easiest way to get a hold of you, list your cell phone. But if you never take your cell phone with you and you don't know how to check the voicemail, list your landline. Also, make sure it has a professional sounding voicemail message. You also want to include a professional sounding email address. So if your personal email address is crazycatlady@yahoo.com, that's fine for your personal correspondence, but you may not want to put that on a resume. Instead, create a new separate email address that's either some version of your name or just something more professional sounding. You want to make sure this is an email address that you check regularly. A lot of companies these days are reaching out by email rather than phone calls, at least in the initial stages, and you don't want to miss a golden opportunity just because you don't check your email very often. Also, Gmail and Outlook are usually the preferred email addresses by employers. There is nothing wrong with having a Yahoo or an AOL or an SBC Global email address, but they are a little bit outdated. What it's going to say is that you created this email address many, many years ago. If you want to seem fresher or more current, Gmail and Outlook are the way to go. You also want to list your city and state, but not your full street address. This is another thing that is going to make your resume look dated or make it seem like you made your first resume a long time ago. Just list the city and the state, but take off your street address. And if you have a LinkedIn profile that is of good quality and is up to date, include the URL on your resume. You want to make it easy for employers to find that excellent profile. Let's look at a few examples. It doesn't matter if your contact information is left aligned, centered, or right aligned. That's all down to your personal preference. And other than your name being first, it does not matter what order the rest of that information goes in. The next thing you need to include is a work experience section. In this section, you should list your experiences in reverse chronological order, which means your most recent job should be at the top and the oldest job should be at the bottom. Include only relevant work experiences from the last 10 years. So there are really two reasons for this statement. First of all, you don't want to give away your age in your resume or make your resume seem dated. But second of all, just because you could do something 20 years ago does not mean that you can still do it now. So it's possible that those work experiences are no longer relevant. There is an exception to this rule, though. Let's say, for example, that you have been with your current company for 20 years. Then you're going to include all 20 years of that experience. You're not going to say you've only worked there for 10 years. Or maybe a job that you had 5 years ago you worked at for 10 or 15 years. You should include all of your experience from that position. You just wouldn't want to put any jobs older than that on your resume. In each entry, you should include the name of the company, whatever your job title was, the dates that you held that position, and a brief description of your duties and accomplishments. Brief being the key word there. Let's look at a couple of examples. In this example, they've listed the job title first, then the name of the company and the city and state that that company is located in, and the dates. There's a brief paragraph describing their job, and then they've used bullet points to make their accomplishments really stand out. In this example, they listed the company first and then the job title, and then they used bullet points to list all of their duties and accomplishments. And the last section that you have to include on your resume is an education section. This section should be towards the end of your resume unless you're a recent graduate. Make sure you include the name of the school, the city and state where the school is located, and the degree that you earned or are currently working towards. You should include an education section even if you don't have a college degree. In that case, you would just list your high school diploma or your GED or whatever your highest level of education is. Most of the time, you're not going to include a date with your education. There's no reason to give away your age on your resume. So you should only include a date if you are a recent graduate, you need to explain an employment gap, but again, keep in mind we're only listing experiences from the last 10 years, so this would still be somewhat recent. You should also list a date if you are actively pursuing a degree right now. In that case, you would list a projected completion date. Let's look at a few examples. The first one is showing a completed university degree. The second one is showing a degree in progress, and they are anticipating graduating in May of 2024. The third one is an example of how to list a high school diploma. So the last one is how you could list your college or university classes if you never finished your degree and you are not currently pursuing a degree right now. So they've listed the university and city and state, and then they put their major and how many credit hours they completed. In the next video, we will talk about extra elements that can be added to your resume to help emphasize your qualifications. Thank you for watching. There is a link to the full Resume Rescue playlist in the description, as well as a link to upcoming technology programs at the St. Louis County Library. Thank you for supporting the library. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel.